In the quiet of a desert night, a data center hums with invisible labor. Rows of servers blink in synchronized rhythm, processing millions of decisions in milliseconds. But behind the glow of computation lies a hidden truth. This fortress of intelligence runs on something far more fragile than code. It runs on power. And power, it turns out, is not always where you need it. Out on the plains, turbines turn in the wind, capturing energy that could power millions. Solar panels glint like mirrors in the sun, soaking up light. The promise of clean energy is real. But here's the twist. Just because the power is made doesn't mean it reaches where it's needed. The path between creation and consumption is long, thin, and surprisingly vulnerable. Deep within the grid's nervous system lies the transformer. It's here that voltage is stepped up, pushed into long-distance lines that stretch across states. Without this conversion, power would never make the journey. But transformers are not infinite. They age, they overload, and when they fail, the whole chain breaks. AI doesn't care about transformers, but it depends on them entirely. In a control room buried beneath layers of bureaucracy and infrastructure, operators watch the heartbeat of the nation. Every spike, every drop, every overload is tracked. They know what most don't, that the grid is a living thing, and it's always on the edge. AI might not blink at a surge, but the system behind it can't ignore the strain. Not every part of the grid is sleek or modern. Some towers are relics, barely holding on. Some lines are stretched too thin. And when the weather turns, or demand spikes, these weak points show. AI may not see the rust, but it feels the consequences when the power cuts out. Inside the AI's brain, the flow of power is invisible but constant. Every chip, every switch, every fan draws from a single source. But that source isn't local. It's miles away, carried through a fragile chain of wires and transformers. The more AI grows, the more that chain is tested. And it's not the chips that break, it's the lines between them. We imagine AI as a digital cloud, floating above the world. But that cloud has weight. It pulls down on the grid, demanding more and more power. The city glows with intelligence, but behind every glow is a wire, a transformer, a line that someone built decades ago. And now, it's not enough. The grid is a map of pressure. Some lines hum with ease. Others glow red with strain. As AI spreads, those red zones grow. Not because we're not making enough power, but because we can't move it fast enough. The bottleneck isn't in the data, it's in the delivery. Every swipe, every click, every voice command draws from a system most never see. The child sees a screen. But behind it lies a chain of power, stretching from distant turbines to fragile lines that pass through backyards and towns. AI may be smart, but it's anchored to the earth. We build more solar farms, more wind turbines, more batteries. But if the lines that carry that power are weak or missing, it doesn't matter. AI doesn't care how much energy is made, it cares how much gets delivered. And right now, too much stops short. The sun shines, the wind blows, the turbines spin. But in the distance, a thin scar cuts through the land. That's where the power goes. Or tries to. The grid is not just a system, it's a path. And if that path is blocked, the energy stays behind, useless to the places that need it most. AI thinks in circuits. But those circuits are powered by something older, something more stubborn. Every calculation, every model, every breakthrough runs on electricity. And electricity runs on wires. Not the kind in your wall, but the kind that cross deserts and mountains. Nature doesn't care about uptime. It doesn't care about models or data. When the storm hits, the lines shake. When the ice builds, the towers bend. AI may be resilient in code, but its power supply is fragile. And when the grid falters, even the smartest systems go dark. We imagine AI as pure thought, floating in a digital void. But that thought has roots. It draws from the earth, from wires, from towers that hum with strain. The glowing core is just the surface. Beneath it lies a web of steel and copper that no one talks about. At every junction, power shifts, splits, and sometimes fails. These points are where the grid shows its age. They're also where AI's hunger for power becomes visible. Not in the servers, but in the sparks, the warnings, the strain on every connection. The city pulses with intelligence. AI flows through every screen, every device, every decision. But behind the glow lies a hidden truth: none of it works without power. And power, no matter how clean or abundant, must travel through lines that few ever see. The plant hums through the night, pouring energy into the grid. But that energy doesn't stay local. It races down lines, through transformers, into substations. It's not the power that's smart, it's what it powers. And that intelligence demands a chain that never breaks. Across the mountains, the lines stretch. They climb peaks, cross valleys, defy gravity. They carry the future on their backs. But they're not new. They're old, worn, and in need of care. AI may be the future, but it rides on infrastructure from the past. When the ice builds, the lines break. When the demand spikes, the transformers overload. AI may not feel the cold, but it feels the blackout. The smarter we get, the more dependent we become on a system that's barely holding on. AI is not just about chips or code. It's about power. And power is not just about generation, it's about delivery. More energy means nothing if it can't reach where it's needed. The future of intelligence depends not on what we make, but on what we move. And that's a job for the lines.